and welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel, as I always say. I am joined today by the chap that does our Discord server.
Hello.
Which there is a link for in the description, which you can go and join it. But hello, Matt, or Mr. Relics.
Hello.
Whatever you want to be called.
Matt's fine. Matt's fine.
We were nearly late, or actually we're a little bit late because we were chatting.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly realised we had 10 seconds. But hey, we're there. So today we're going to have a bit of a chat, and we are going to play a bit of a fantasy role play. You get to pretend you are Brad Wright today, sir. And we can imagine what the hell we would like to see from the Stargate new series when it comes. So first of all, we thought we would play a little game of what main characters would you love to see return to Stargate? Matt, as you're a welcome guest, you can throw in who's the first person you'd love to see?
First person's Teal'c. I'd love to have him back. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
He was always my favourite from SG1. I don't know why. It's just that indeed. It's my favourite catchphrase. I always say it. I'd love to have him back.
I'll randomly say that at work. People don't know.
He's a big voiceover guy now, but
yeah. I'm a manager in my day job, and every so often, if somebody will say something stupid, I just go, "Indeed." And in my head, I'm going.
I've got him on my notice board. I can't see it. I've got a thing, but yeah, he's always been my favourite. So he would be my first pick if I was in charge and they said who would you want back, instantly Teal'c.
Yeah, I think it was he was a brilliant straight man for a lot of the comedy. You know, they would make references to things, but then as he grew as well, he actually became a bit of a comedian as well. You know, but I think particularly in the first two series, which I think the first two series made Stargate, his emotional dilemma between his past and working with the Tauri and and the guilt of what he'd done as Apophysis Prime was, I think that drove a lot of the show. You know, it gave us a lot of story to tell. So yeah, I
always like the stories where he kind of got turned back to being the first Prime when he got brainwashed again. I always loved those stories, or the alternate Earth stories where he was the one leading the fight to Earth.
Yeah, I think that with Daniel was one of the first really great episodes of Stargate. I mean, like properly, like that it's not just good. It's good. It's just great television sort of thing. You know, it's like that Mirror Universe episode was one of the ones that really like stands out.
The finale of season 1.
Yeah. You can't argue with it really. That it's been. I mean, and there was 2 or 3 really great episodes in the first series. I'm doing a look at the second series at the moment, looking at the brilliant episodes from that. And I'll tell you what, the second series, there's 4 or 5 episodes in that series that are just like, whoa, you know, it's just like this isn't just great sci-fi. This is just great television. Full stop. This is you know. I'm trying to get.
I'm currently watching season 2 again, and the one I've just watched, I think it was a couple of days ago, is Thor's Chariot. That's probably my favorite from that series.
Spoiler for the video: at the moment, Thor's Chariot is winning. If I'm going to say it's the best episode of that series, it might be Thor's Chariot, and I just watched it again as well. It's a brilliant
episode.
It really is. I'm with Dragonfly. I would love to see Jack come back, but he is a man in his 70s. So I think the obvious thing here is, and we know from Brad Wright that, he's thinking about Amanda Tapping coming back, generally directing and doing other things, but General Carter, he's mentioned it a couple of times. How nice would it be to see General Carter married to Jack? And that would be a way for Jack to like pop in for the odd episode here and there, just say hello, and have a quip, crack a joke.
Good morning, campers.
Yeah, good morning. What are you doing? And then like take the piss out of somebody and then leave.
Yeah,
I think that'd be great. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, Ian. Walter does have to be in it, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
Yes, yeah, you have to have Walter.
I actually did a video on this ages ago, and somebody asked me where would Walter be. Would it be funny if Walter was like in command now, and he was like this villain connect? And I think I think it'd be funny if he's just doing the same thing. I think it'd be funny if he just goes Chevron 1. I think that would be hilarious if he just turned up, because they did take the piss out of that in a few videos, didn't they? When they did they did the interview one where they were all getting interviewed, and he said, "So what do you actually do?" They was all like, "I kind of say Chevron 1 coded." And that's about it.
I like the episode as well where this I can't remember the actual plot. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with the Ashen. But anyway, the Stargate was like a museum, and he was still at Stargate Command. He was just like the tour guide or something.
We're going to jump in, guys. Get into the comments and say,
"Hey, John."
Throw us our names here. John Cole says hello. Rodney, I said to you at the start, we can have fantasy pick here now. You can pick anybody, but then you've got to have a bit of realism. Who would actually come back? And I think I joked with you earlier, didn't I? That I think if you didn't invite David Hewlett, he would turn up anyway, and just start appearing in the background and reading stuff. And I mean, I love on his Twitter when he released that. Joe Malozzi did the front page of the Stargate something series, and he wrote in Stargate McKay. I mean, that's his sense of humor, and I watch him on Twitter a lot, and he's mad as a bag of frogs. Bless him. He's got to come back, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'd love. Yeah, like I was saying to you before, because he is so involved in Stargate, I can't see any reason why he would never come back. I don't think they'd even have to ask him. I think he would volunteer.
Yeah, I think he's actually probably stalking Brad Wright as we speak. He's probably outside his house just waiting for.
He's in his DMs, just going, just let me know.
Yeah. Constant PMs. Any news? What do you want there? I'm there now. What do you want me to? And yeah, I think he'd be great. He was always one of the first ones. Whenever they did the like behind the scenes videos and things, he did loads of those back in the day, and he was always hilarious. He's not right, but he is hilarious. How do you feel about then somebody outside of SG1? I mean, I know McKay was SG.
Outside of SG1, Ronan. I'd like to see Ronan back.
Yeah,
probably would never happen, but I would love to.
That's a fantasy pick. Definitely a fantasy pick, I think.
Yeah. I kind of want to see Weir back, but
she's still alive. Not the actress. I mean, the character. Did she die?
Technically, yes, but then she also didn't because there was a clone of her.
See this TV show.
I mean, Beckett died, and then he came back. So
that was a stupid episode. I think that was voted the most hated episode in all of Stargate history when Beckett came back, and people went ballistic. But yeah, I'd love to see, and somebody has jumped in. Louis, good evening, sir. Yeah, Shepard. I think he was a great. He is somebody as well. Joe Flanagan is somebody as well that really pushed to get Stargate to come back. Didn't he even try to buy the rights for it or something? I think at one point.
He did, yeah. He tried to buy it.
He desperately was. I mean, that's another actor. That's not a fantasy pick. He would probably come back in a heartbeat. I also thought he was. I always really liked him. I always thought he was the O'Neill of Stargate Atlantis. It's nice to have a good actor, you know.
Your audio has gone a bit funny on my end. I don't know if that's on stream.
I don't know. Somebody get the comments as if it's streams. It's sort of good, decent audio. I can hear you fine. Oh, I should probably means it. No, can't hear me. Can't hear me at all.
I can hear. No, I can hear you, but it sounds like a robot, and I can hear myself.
Sound like a robot. Guys, get in the comments. Tell us if you can hear me. I'll drop myself out. I can hear I do sometimes. I fix it. Both bad there and two, so let me get out of it. I'm just going to drop myself out for a second and drop my in and sometimes I fix it. So you have to entertain while I'm on that.
Okay, I will. Hello, everyone. How are you? It's still doing the same thing.
Come on. I'll tell you what, I'll switch the audio setting. I'll switch the to the mic.
You sound like a broken Dalek. Yeah, that's a very good explanation or description. Sorry.
Any better?
Oh, miles better. Yes.
I've switched to the laptop.
So
my very expensive £200 or £300 microphone, piece of crap.
So
sounds like gold.
What were you saying about Shepard?
Yeah. I just think he's a likable actor as well. That's one of the things you like. But also, he's not a dream pick because he would be back in a second. Ronan was always my favorite Stargate Atlantis character. I loved Ronan. As soon as he left, I knew he was going to be a massive movie star because he's just fantastic. But they would. But that's it. You might squeeze him back for an episode because he also does seem like one of those actors that Jason Momoa that doesn't say no to anything. So you might get him to come back for an episode, but you'd never get him to come back.
Not full time.
No. But I'm trying to think who else I'd love to see. I think Teal. I think the General Carter thing. I think we're going to see Daniel Jackson. But what role? If you wanted Daniel Jackson in, what role would you want to see him in?
I think he'd be some sort of like a consultant kind of role. He'd have to be involved in some way because really Daniel Jackson is the entire reason the Stargate program exists.
Yeah, and it does
have to be involved in some way.
Yeah, it does look like again he's going to. They're talking about directing potentially as well, so behind the camera as well. Obviously, he is on the companion thing with Brad Wright that he does. So, I think it would be good. Daniel Jackson's left the Blacklist. That's I like that. I used to love the Blacklist. I stopped watching after about the third season, but yeah, he's like that. I think he'd be good because I said apparently the Gate program is now public. Everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
So, civilian leader. He's he's actually the boss.
Yeah, that's a good.
I think that could work.
I could, yeah.
And then he wouldn't be day in, day out in the series, so he could then direct and do behind the screen stuff. But he's like, because it wouldn't be a military leader. If it's out there and everybody knows about the program, they're not going to be allowed to have a military leader. I don't think that'd be public outcry sort of thing. That
it would be interesting to see him in charge because he brought a lot of empathy to the team. Like with any of the stories, he was usually the voice of reason. So I think that would actually be quite a good idea if he was a leader, or if he was like involved in if the IOA still exists, something to do with that. Like maybe replace Woolsey.
Yeah, like a civilian oversight committee sort of thing. Yeah. And like you said, like consultant.
I'm not 100% sure his character would go for that though.
That's what you have to do. You have to think about what the character would want to do.
Yeah, because I don't think Jackson had very good thoughts about the IOA just because of how many times they tried to burn the SGC. Which was
repeated. Cassandra, that's a good member of the Stargate team, Panther Pickle.
Yeah, she's on my list.
Yeah. Oh well, there you go. Let's talk about Cassandra.
We saw old Cassandra in, was it 1969? The episode, is it that episode? And we obviously seen young Cassandra. We've never seen her as an adult, so it'd be interesting to see what she's like.
Yeah, and I think there would be a few characters that could come back as well, like Cassandra, Jackson. That storyline, the thing that he's out there.
The clone.
The clone. Sorry, he's out there and about. I said to you earlier that we saw a few young SG team members at times that came in and out that we could see again. I said to you, I've been writing some fan fiction, and I've got one character that was in it, and she's the commander of the Hammonds now, and I can't remember her freaking name. It's been so long since I've been able to write the damn thing because of work. Work really does get in the way of my fun. I really wish I didn't have to, guys. If you could all just pay me to do this, that would be much better. And then
Hit that join button.
Yeah, hit that join button, please. Yeah, if 1,000 of you do that, I could quit. I could just do this every day. But if everybody watching right now did, I'm trying to get my wife to agree to it. I tell you what, somebody has just thrown in a name that you're going to enjoy because you've already mentioned him earlier. But there are lots of characters like that could come in because we had 10 years, of SG1. So we kind of, but here we go. I thought he was dead. I thought the actor was dead. He was one of those. I tell you what, it's actually, or is it Samantha's dad that's dead?
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, I think that's who I was thinking. Yeah. So the actor, I mean,
I can't think of his name in real life, but he died in the series as well. So
yeah, so but yeah, I'd love to see Braytak back. And I joked with you earlier, and I said that he's got wicked evil eyes, but he's got really got naughty eyes. And I say that guy could do anything. He could go, "Gives 20 quid," and he just would, because he's like, "Nah, you cheeky little bugger, here's 20 quid." It's like I suggested something different to that earlier, but I'm not sure I should say it.
I was going to say, I thought you said earlier. Someone just said in the comments, "Are the Tolans alive?" I have a theory that one of them, a few of them, did survive. So having some of them come back. What was his name? The guy the actor ended up marrying Weir in SG Atlantis. What was his name? Nareem, his name.
Nareem.
Yeah, I'd love to see him come back.
I think that would be. I think the Tolans would be an interesting storyline as well because there's so much you can do with that, particularly with the science and everything else.
Well, it'd be my fantasy episode of that would be they obviously all got wiped out, most of them. They say 90% got wiped out, but a few of them managed to get through the Stargate. So
yeah, some would escape. Yeah, definitely.
So you've got a colony. They're not as advanced as they once were, but they're still pretty smart.
And they would still have advance of technology, so they'd have something. So whatever they went out with, I think that would be a really interesting, way of because that's one thing with what we've got now is that the Stargate team is or Stargate Command has got seriously advanced technology. And I actually did a video not long ago about how there's a real danger. Brad Wright's going to have to be really clever. I want to see Claudia Black come back just because I really liked what she used to wear. I was just like, I never had a leather fetish until Claudia Black turned up. I'm like, I think I'm developing one. But I'm joking.
Never as a cult warrior looked so good.
Yeah. Oh, she was, I love that. He sits on her lap and Daniel's like, oh, Jesus. She was just so funny. They were so good together. They bounced off each other so well. They were brilliant.
I'd like to see them together if he comes back, like maybe just mention her, even if she doesn't want to come back.
Yeah. I think she probably would. The her and I've forgotten his name now. I know his real name. The chap that came in for season 9 and 10. He was on
Cam Mitchell.
Yeah. I'd like to see him come back as well because I love that one scene. One of the things I'm talking about is I'm doing a video at the moment, so I'm going to spoil, but the humor of Stargate when Daniel Jackson and Cam are stood next to each other and they kind of look alike. And Claudia Black's character comes up and says, "A shallow gene pool here." So I mean,
it's a gene pool.
I thought that's just such a clever joke that most people, Ben Browder, thank you, thread book and soil, but Ben Browder, and he's still been. He was in the Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He appeared a little part in that. He was one of the gold dudes. So when he's telling the gold woman, he's like the general. So the gold one's like all the drones had been destroyed in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I remember.
Gold dude. Yeah. I'm always looking for these things. But he appears in things every so often, so he'd probably do it. And I like Cam.
It's always fun seeing Stargate characters in other shows. Like I don't know if you've seen The Mandalorian.
I have, yeah.
But Camille Ray is in Mandalorian, and she's also in Boba Fett.
Yep. Yeah, no, she's great. I've forgotten her name now. I did a video with my mate last week with Stormy, regulars of the sidetrack, you'll know, and we were talking about old films that are rubbish. And we talked about Street Fighter and Nina. I want to say Nina. Is that her name? The main woman from Mandalorian, who's in her 50s. For God's sake! Right. Anyway,
I'm sure that's Camille Ray, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, she's in Star Trek. She's in Street Fighter, which is nearly 20 years old, and she looks exactly the same.
Oh,
Still gorgeous. But anyway, so I lost my train of thought. Where were we? I'll tell you what we'll talk about because it keeps popping up. And then I want to talk about what do people actually want the storyline to be. So we've talked about characters and returning characters, and there's loads of them. And I want to see a load of new characters as well. But the villain, some brilliant villains over the years. Would we want to see any of them come back? Because the Wraith story was never actually concluded. They're still knocking about, being all vampire-y with their hands. The replicators still never actually got totally wiped out, I don't think. Even though they did once or twice, but then they always seem to come back.
I think they did get totally wiped out.
They did get totally wiped out in the end, didn't they? Because they used the thingy
because of the Stargate like big wave thing.
They used the Dakara
super weapon.
Yeah. So with they're gone.
It doesn't mean that they can still have them from other galaxies though, because it only affected the Milky Way.
Exactly. I always wonder whether Anubis could come back, because he doesn't die. He ascends, and then Omar basically goes into an eternal battle with him. But that doesn't mean he's dead. And he was always my favorite bad guy. I actually think I did a video about the worst villain, and he topped my list because he actually nearly wiped all life out of the universe. He came that close to wiping it all out.
I think he could definitely come back.
Yeah.
So if there was a storyline that somehow affected the ancients, which made it so Omar had to stop fighting him, he could then become a secondary villain, which is still quite a powerful villain because obviously he's half ascended. But yeah, I think that could work. I'd love to see him back. He was my favorite.
Jennifer Haley is the woman I was trying to think of earlier that she's in my story. She's in my story. She's the commander. Yeah, she now commands the Hammond in my story that I'm trying to write. And as soon as I can quit my job, if you would like to join the channel, please do. As soon as I can quit my job, I'm going to write that. I like this though. Juice bowl. Screw it. Let's just have them all back. Screw it. Roll call, everybody.
Just pretend like the last 10 years didn't happen.
Yeah, screw it. But I like the idea of news. The one villain that I'm not convinced by and I think would be a bit boring is the Lucian Alliance. I didn't really.
I don't think they're a threat.
No, with our new weapons now, they could come at us with as many attacks as they liked, and we'd cut in half. It'd be a turkey shooter. They'd have to come back unless they got hold of Anubis' shields or something. They'd have to be wiped out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Asgard tech that we had, could destroy an Ori ship, and it did at least once. Attacks are nowhere near as advanced. So no, they're not advanced. The only threat they only posed a threat to Destiny, and that was a good storyline. But to the actual Milky Way, Atlantis, whatever, they're not going to be good enough, in my opinion.
I would love to see Adria come back because I think she's generally is the queen of sci-fi, and I loved her in Firefly. And I'm not going to try and say her name because it's quite hard to say, but she is gorgeous. I love her very much.
Did she not die?
Not really. She kind of got.
Is she the same as Anubis?
Yeah, she's kind of just lost all her power, didn't she, sort of thing. But
well, she went into battle, didn't she? With who was it? Another ascended being. The woman. Can't remember her name.
Well, that's what I think do as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things saying love to see actually finish the gene story. They would have to feed on humans. That would be good. He's actually Iritus Wraith. Good name.
Very
Once
fitting
his
name.
friends come back. But do you think we're going to get new villains, or I think Brad Wright would bring back some of the old villains, but he's got to come up with something new, isn't he, for the new series?
Yeah, I'm not convinced that the Goa'uld are done with, because by the time Baal in Continuum was like killed or whatever, it was only the System Lords that they were targeting. Really, there's still lower Goa'ulds that exist. Like, there's got to be
they are on the Earth.
galaxy.
Yeah. I think the Goa'uld. I don't know if the Goa'uld would come back as the main antagonist for a show, but I'd love to see him come back at some point. Somebody had an idea of a Goa'uld and a Wraith merge and come back.
Ooh.
Marina Baccarin, thank you. That's her name. She's beautiful. I love her very much.
Goa'uld and the Wraith. That would be quite interesting. That would be kind of like when they were with the Unas, but
yeah, that's the type of thing they were going with. I think get him and get Wraith, get a Goa'uld into the biggest, baddest body you can, sort of thing, and then see, watch him go crazy, sort of thing. But
one storyline I do want answered is the Fearlings. Loads of people have mentioned it already. Is the Fearlings. We only ever saw one thing from the Fearlings, two things if you count the 200th episode, but we're not going to count that.
But they were the Ewoks.
Yeah. And that was that desolate planet that Mayborn and O'Neill got sent to.
Yeah.
It's heavily implied that that's the Fearlings, but we have no actual confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. It's suspected that the weather machine on that one planet was potentially Fearling technology, and the Summit Stone, what's it called? The Thingy Stone, that was supposed to be their technology, but we never had it confirmed.
Stone.
Some touchstone, I forget anyway. There's too much stuff in it. But the Paradise Lost episode, that was a Fearling, supposed to be a utopian planet where the Fearlings lived, and anyone come and a Goa'uld snuck a plant on it. Then they made everyone go paranoid and kill each other.
Yeah.
But we never. They're the only species out of the four of the Alliance that we actually didn't get to know well. To be fair, that we never really got to know the Nox that well. We saw them.
They could come back
a handful of times.
Yeah,
5 or 6.
They were always very an isolated society, weren't they? They didn't really want to be involved with anyone.
No, that's
other than the Tolans.
Yeah, I love you, Ian, but if Brad Wright does a time channel episode, I'm blaming you. So
dare I say time travel? Well, to go back in time and make it so the show was never cancelled.
That would be lovely. Well, I heard basically, or I was told that the Timekeeper's game is going to tell us a lot about where Stargate is going to go in the future, because Amazon would like to interlock all these things. They'd like the game to influence the TV series and blah, blah, Marvel style. So I think the game is a time travel thing. It's backwards and forwards through time. And we know the gate can be used to time travel. But if they, and let's be honest, Star Trek love that sort of thing. And Amazon or MGM might look at what Star Trek are doing and thinking, oh, well, let's do something along those lines. But if they do, I might have to punch somebody in the gonads, because it'll just be shit. Look at Discovery. It's just not good. And as soon as you start doing time travel, that's when canon gets the crap kicked out of it, in my opinion. And I just think if you do it, time travel episodes, if they're done well, are great. But how many times are they done well? Most of the time, they're done really badly. And somebody ends up impregnating their grandma or something, and it's just like, no, don't do it. The giant aliens and Daniel's grandpa, we could see those come back. The interesting thing with me, with the Fearlings, though, was my thought, was we need a new bad guy. we know so little about the Fearlings. Could they be the new antagonist? Could they come back and be the bad guy?
That'd be quite cool.
Isn't
So I was thinking that when I was thinking of potential storylines, that they ended up being the bad guy of a new series.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we kind of had a taste of it in Atlantis. But you know the evil Asgard?
Yeah.
Having them be an antagonist. Like a proper threat this time, rather than just like kidnapping Daniel and Rodney.
I think that would be great, actually. I don't know if that, again, as a series antagonist, but as a double episode or something.
I want the Asgard to come back.
Yeah.
In some way.
That would be cool, again, because you could do a similar thing, like with the Fearlings or the evil Asgard sort of thing. They come back and you think they're on your side. And that could, that could develop and they turn into... But I was thinking about either that as well. I hope they don't do this in a way, but all villains on a lot of shows now at the moment have been copying Marvel, where the villain, it's like that Thanos question, isn't it? Is Thanos really a villain? Because he doesn't think so. He thinks he's the good guy. And you could argue he's right. So, and I think they'll do something like that with Stargate. That's what I suspect. They'll do a villain that is... that you can see their point, they can see their side of things. You can, obviously what they're doing is evil, but they're not evil just for the sake of being evil. Bad guys have got to have a lot more depth nowadays, haven't they?
Yeah.
So
that's what I always liked about Baal. He was evil, but he had more to him than just being evil. Like Apophis was just evil.
Yeah,
it was a great protagonist. Is it protagonist? Antagonist. Yeah. But Baal was always my favorite god, other than Anubis, for the fact that it was so much more to him.
One of my favorite scenes with Baal's there waiting, and O'Neill walks up and goes, "He's like, I've been waiting here." And he goes, I was having a lovely brunch.
And he goes, insolence. And he goes, no, tuna.
So good. I should just do a video one of the days. So we'll just go, right, tell us all your favourite bits. Go! We'll just start reading off all the favourite bits. Parallel universes and things, though. Don't do it.
Oh, no, don't use parallel universes.
That's
a trope that's used a lot to solve a lot of issues, and I don't think it's
lazy.
Yeah,
the
thing with the Fearlings, because they were part of the four great races. They were essentially a democracy of all these species. If they're still alive, they could come back as envoys of this long lost democracy. They look at the way the state of the galaxy is now and then be like, we don't like how it is. So they're technically the villain, but they've got a reason why.
That's where I'm going with it. I was thinking about sort of Babylon 5 and the I forgot the name of it. Vorlon. The Vorlons. Have you ever watched Babylon 5? Because you're
no.
You got to watch Babylon 5.
I've got so many sci-fi shows I've got to watch.
Babylon 5 is amazing in that they've got these Vorlons that are like there's some cheesy bits in it that they're like angels and stuff in at one point, but that. But all the way through there's this battle against the shadows, and you think the shadows are the villains all the way through, and the Vorlons are here to protect us. And then at the battle in the end, the Vorlons basically decide that the best way to wipe out the shadows is to wipe out everybody. And so they turn on everyone. And so then the Vorlons and the shadows are fighting, and everyone else is fighting. And so they say the shadows have got all these like secret alliances and things with all the different worlds. And so the Vorlons just wipe out everybody that the shadows have ever touched, but the shadows have touched everyone. So it's like they were touches. So you can have that sort of thing where they come back and they go, "You're so corrupt, and everything has gone so sideways that the only way to, we need to add order to the galaxy is to like wipe all you lot out, or just to say, well, you're not allowed Stargates anymore. We're going to take them away." sort of thing, or something like that. There's lots of ways they could do that, which would be really, really interesting. So
Asgard mines could be uploaded in the Asgard lore. They said all knowledge is in there. What if they meant literally? They could ask the Pegasus to clone some bodies for their comrades. Yeah. I don't think that that would work, because they couldn't solve the cloning issue. Otherwise, they wouldn't even need to blow themselves up.
They'd have to like start again. Yeah, but they were copies of copies of copies, weren't they? And they were slowly deteriorating. But like I say, though, their minds still there somewhere. So I think there are ways the actual Asgard could come back. But I like your idea about the evil Asgard, or Asgard from outside the galaxy coming back or something. Because I mean, they should be everywhere. So,
yeah,
there's lots of ways.
Loads of different colonies.
Yeah,
something that I was interested in seeing, and this is based on if they do a prequel series, for the Ancients, is seeing the start of the four great races and seeing the Asgard in their true form. So we kind of saw the Asgard in that chamber,
but
obviously it wasn't walking and talking and interacting. I'd like to see that. That'd be cool.
I think that's a really good idea. I think I like the idea of doing a prequel series again, because normally I hate prequels, and again that's going Trekkie. Because as soon as Star Trek started doing prequel series, I don't know why they keep insisting in Star Trek to remake this, to do the same story over and over again. But anyway, I don't want them to do that with Stargate. But the thing is, with Stargate, it's different. We've literally got millions of years worth of history. I'd love to see the plague, where they ended up building the weapon on Dakar in the first place, and and how that happened. I'd love to see how the Ori and the ancient split happened in the first place. I think that'd be really interesting. There's so many stories, that we got little glimpses of at times, but instead of like destroying canon, they could add so much, because we could actually get some stories. But also, there's millions and millions of years. They could do it really easily without, as long as they weren't thick about it, as long as they didn't do like a Discovery and like, oh, we've just got this ship that is far more powerful than anything we're supposed to have at this time. As long as they think about it.
They could do it kind of like, because obviously, like you said, there's millions of years of events that would have happened that we haven't seen. A prequel series could be like, let's say 100, I'll say AD, but when I say AD, I mean before, millions of years ago, where something happens, and then they have a little bit of a nice little lull, and then 300 AD, the next storyline could take place, where they kind of, we can see them advancing as it goes, but we don't have to like sit through millions of episodes for the millions of years. It's like we see them slowly progress up to the point that we knew when they ascended.
I think and the ascension happened in stages as well. So I mean that's interesting. But that's the thing. That's with streaming services the way it is nowadays. Instead of like old-fashioned TV shows where you have to have series like that, streaming they can do little 10-episode hits, because they do it like they set it up like they film it like a movie, but they release it in 6 or 7 like miniseries sort of thing. There's no reason why they couldn't have an Ancients series where you have 10 episodes of one bit, and then have completely new actors, 10 episodes, another story, and so that's one of the benefits of streaming, that they could do that, no bother at all. I'd love to see someone do it. I mean, they're talking about this for the new Battlestar Galactica. The creator of Battlestar Galactica sort of said, we don't have to release episodes like that anymore. We can release episodes in any way we like. So we can do it. We can do these 3 episodes sit together really nicely. So let's release them all in one go. Let's release them the same day. And this, so there's lots of things they can do. And in streaming services, they can do something similar with the Ancients. We could have just whole episodes. We could just have a mini episode halfway through a series of an ancient flashback or something as well, and things like that. There's lots of things they could do.
I think one storyline that most people would want is a conclusion to Universe.
Let's talk about Universe then. I did a video just about it. I've done a video, my last video. Go back and have a look, please, guys. Stargate Universe. Could we save Eli?
Yes.
Brad Wright says we're going to. He's basically hinted more than once that we're going to.
I saw a theory on how they save Eli. I don't know if it was part of like a comic or something like that, or if it was just a fan theory, but it was something to do with putting himself in a Stargate buffer. Coming out every I don't know month, or I don't know what the timeline was. Let's say every year until they eventually get to a certain point.
You know where they've stole that from, though, don't you?
No.
Well, you haven't watched Star Trek: The Next Generation yet.
Not yet.
There's an episode where oh fuck's sake, name's gone out of my head again. The engineer from Star Trek: The Original Series. Going miracles. Anyway, they find him. I can't believe his name's gone out of my head. James Doohan. I know the actor's name. Please, somebody tell me. Anyway, we find him on a Dyson sphere, and they find this shuttle, and he has put himself in the transporter in a buffer. So he basically is just in a transporter cycle. So like decades have gone by, and they just beam him out, sort of thing. So they're complete. Scotty, how do I forget Scotty?
Oh, Scotty, yeah, beam me up, Scotty.
God's sake. Do live videos trying to think about too many things at once. I'm trying to talk to you and read comments and think about what I'm going to say next.
See, I've got an excuse not to know these characters.
Everybody.
I'm only on episode 13.
Yeah. Scotty, God's sake. But yeah, 70 years apparently quarantine. So that sounds like that's stolen straight from that. But hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
They steal off each other constantly anyway. So.
Well, it's like I was saying when I started watching. So I've started watching Star Trek, the original series. I've not seen Star Trek before. I've watched the movies, with Zachary Quinto and stuff, but I've not seen the actual series. So I started watching it, and I'm on the episode called Menagerie. And like I was saying to you earlier, what was his name? Pike. In his wheelchair, I was saying Doctor Who obviously stole that for Davros.
Yeah.
It looks exactly the same.
I think so, yeah. I think it's definitely. I love the little light. Beep, 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 lights different, just like Morse code thing. Oh, dear. Can he start the engines, Captain? But yeah.
Something to explain David Blue's weight loss. Well,
yeah.
We were talking about that as well. There's no food on the Destiny, is
there? Yeah. Guys, you're getting really stuck into the comments today. Love it. Keep going.
They could use Atlantis to send and upload to the Universe C chip to start making stuff.
Locked away somewhere on the Destiny. Yep. See, the Destiny.
There's a villain that's been on Destiny all this time.
Why not in stasis somewhere? You look at the comics. The engineers are all.
And when they release everyone from the Destiny, when they save them all, they inadvertently release this entity as well. That's actually quite a good idea.
Yeah. You don't know what the Destiny could have come in contact with in a million years, shooting through space. Could have come in contact with anything.
Yeah, I like these blue aliens. I want to see them again.
Yeah. Oh, there's those fishy aliens as well.
Yeah.
There's so much, isn't there? That I think he's going to, like I say, I think he's going to have to come up with a new villain. I know at one point they were thinking about this. It was going to be roughly based on an old ancient aliens theory of the Anunnaki. I don't think Brad Wright will go anywhere near that. But I think it's been done. We did the whole Egyptian thing. I think Brad Wright's got enough sense not to do that again. But there are lots of things in our history that they could explore, Greek myths and things if they wanted to. But I think Stargate was moving away from that anyway towards the end of the series. We had the Asgard and we had things like that obviously from our mythology. But obviously the Ori weren't. That was nothing to do. That was a completely different idea. So, yeah, it was a Dyson sphere. Well, so what other villains do you think you could think of? Is there anything you'd like to see?
So I said to go award, haven't I?
No, I'll tell you what, I got a question for you then.
Go on.
From Brad Wright, from the interviews and things we've got, we know he is thinking about making the Stargate it'll be public. Everybody will know about the Stargate program. And we've already said that maybe it'd be interesting if Daniel was like the civilian leader of that program then, or something. Do you think that's a good idea? If you were Brad Wright, would you do that? Or would you keep it a secret? And get in the comments as well, guys. You tell me what you think as well. Would you do that?
I think from a storytelling perspective, it would be very good. Because it's completely different to what we used to. It's not a secret anymore. Having a big overarching threat where the whole world knows about it and it actually feels like a threat would be good in terms of story. Because there was always world-ending events in Stargate, but no one else knew about them. Having the whole world know about it would create that sense of panic and like devastation that could potentially happen. It would. I think, from a storytelling perspective,
it does add a different dimension to it, doesn't it? That it was like, for me, the risk is the point about Stargate was that it could be true. You know, it could actually be happening. You know, I love that old story that apparently allegedly in Cheyenne Mountain there's a broom cupboard and it's got Stargate Command written on it. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, but I didn't know actually. I was googling that recently that Cheyenne Mountain isn't NORAD anymore. Space Force is based out of there.
Space Force or Stargate Command.
Or Stargate Command, yeah. So Space Force, go! But yeah,
it does sound very Stargate, doesn't it? That Space Force.
The logo is just like, oh, you fucking dicks. It's just like they've just taken the Stargate logo and straightened the line. The Star Trek logo, so just straighten the lines up a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a risk. But the problem is they've gone so far. BK, you are late, so they've gone so far that it's like impossible not to. I think Brad Wright is sort of right in a way that we've got to sort of make it public because it's unbelievable that it wouldn't be. You know, we've got spaceships flying around, for God's sake. We've got a fleet of spaceships. It's ridiculous. But the risk is it becomes Star Trek. You know, it's different. It's not Stargate anymore. But you could argue that Atlantis wasn't, and
it could be. It could work. Just because it's public knowledge doesn't mean it's public use. So the actual day-to-day could be very similar to what we're already used to. It's just everyone on Earth kind of knows. But I think having everyone on Earth know could create more threats as well, which could create more story because you'd have, obviously we've had things like the IOA before, but there could be like other countries. It could get like quite political, like with other countries like trying to, I don't know, discredit America or something. I'm not writing a story, but something could happen.
Well, we are writing the story. That's the point of this video. We can do whatever we want.
Let's say Russia then. Russia wants the Stargate back. Did they? Have they still got their Stargate, or did it get blown up?
No, they gave it us, didn't we? And then didn't we use it to destroy a star?
Oh, we lost ours, and we took it.
And then we rented it off those Russians, didn't we?
Yeah. I don't know if they do anything to do with current actual real life events, but that could be interesting for a story.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is I suppose it's going to be proper science fiction now. You know, it's going to be. It can't be real anymore. You know, that was the whole thing with SG-1. It could be real. It could actually be happening. That's going to be gone now. But I think that probably. I think somebody mentioned earlier. It's already like Star Trek. I think that probably got to that point where it was stupid. It was that it was still a secret. Probably around series 5 or 6. Definitely when we started having the Prometheus and then the Daedalus, and then you start thinking, oh God, this couldn't be a secret anymore. It's stupid. So maybe it is actually. I think it's a risk, but maybe it's stupid not to. And we have to trust Brad Wright at the end of the day that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I think it will all depend on how it got discovered. Whether it was new administration in America that's just like, we're just going to make it public, or whether it was someone leaked the information and then they had to They had to acknowledge it because they could either way can create interesting stories.
Yeah. That might be an interesting way to start the series. Whereas
like the episode, is it called Disclosure?
Yeah.
When they're bringing in the new prime president.
Yeah, and they have to tell him.
And they have to tell him. But
I love that bit. He's reading the article. He's reading this. What's it? Like, this happened. Like, they did that as a flashback episode, didn't they? It's one of those filler episodes.
Yeah.
They do filler episodes in Stargate, but they did them better than a lot of TV shows.
Normally, I hate filler episodes, but those were usually pretty good because they had a story attached to them.
Yeah, I like that. We're not going to get that anymore with filler episodes and things. But I tell you what, I'm actually struggling to keep up with the comments, guys. You're doing amazing. Thank you so much. At the end, there'll be 2 gates back in there technically. So yeah, could run one in secret maybe. But I do think that might be an interesting way to start the series. Yeah. Is that something happens that is so, big they can't hide the program anymore.
Could just be a ship landing
on the White House.
On the White House, or I think that's a bit of a cliche, but
we've got allies now, so one of our allies could just turn up or something, like innocently landing on going, the tower, because the Towery are everywhere. You're known throughout the universe, but the people don't know, and it's like it's like, so it could just be that a hack turns up and in a friendly way and messes everything. So, but I'd like to see that something so massive happens that they have to admit it, and then the first few episodes could be like them them finding their new feet in this new thing. Because I think if they just start that it's public, that's a lot of story then he's not told, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like, well, how?
That's a worry I had. If it just starts and it's in the video you described, it's like in this terminal or whatever. How did he get there? Are they going to explain it, or is it going to be a throwaway comment? Like, I'd like to see it unravel.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's such a big storyline. They can't just go, well, it is, unless they can't think of a way to do it, because it would change the world, wouldn't it? Though, I mean, this would be like if aliens landed on the White House tomorrow. There's another story of, well, how would the world react to that? How would the world not only react to that there are aliens? The world has nearly been destroyed several times. On a weekly basis, sometimes in Stargate. It's like the world was saved every Saturday night at 8:00 this week.
And then they'll find out that the virus that happened from the Ori was actually an alien threat. It's a bit like if it happened in real life, us finding out coronavirus was actually from some distant galaxy.
Yeah,
we'd be pissed.
People would go crazy. Hence, civilian leader. And someone like Daniel, but that would require a massive explanation. So I hope that's kind of where he goes with that. That's what I think. If I was Brad Wright, I think that's where I would start. Like I say, I do worry about it becoming Star Trek, but I also think if you think about the start of SG-1 to where SG-1 ended, and the technology we amassed by the end of that 10 years, it's been 15 years now since Stargate SG-1 ended.
Yep.
Atlantis is sat in San Francisco Bay. We're going to have to explain that one.
Yep.
So we've worked about 15 years or 10 years exploring Atlantis, and whatever technology. So where is our technology going to be? That's my point.
Yeah, you've got to think that we wouldn't have just stopped. That we got all the Asgard tech. And as you said, we've got Atlantis. So we would have discovered some new stuff.
Yeah.
But how are they going to show us when that happened?
Yeah.
It's going to be set now, isn't it? Brad Wright said it's now. It's not like a continuation from back then. It's here and now.
Yeah.
Like they'd have to do some kind of potentially flashbacks, I guess.
Could do it in stages, doing some sort of do little, which again they could do. It wouldn't be difficult. It's a big problem that a lot of time has gone by. But I suppose that's an advantage as well, though, isn't it? That because some time has gone by, that it is like a reset in lots of ways. That there are lots of things you can do now that you maybe couldn't have done if we'd have gone straight into another series. Yeah, so I think it's a risk. I think he's going to have to be very, very clever. But from what we're seeing and what he's saying, people are very excited about the script that's been written. The antagonist is again very exciting, apparently, and I just hope he's not being maybe too clever. Sometimes I think TV writers trying to do something different, they can try to force it a little bit, and then you end up just getting something that's different for the sake of it rather than different with a point. I hope Brad Wright is seasoned enough though, and gets a team around him as well that he's seasoned enough that he wouldn't make that mistake.
I think he'd be. I don't think that'd be a risk with Brad. Well, because he's made other things since, and they've been fantastic. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen Travelers.
I have, yeah.
I love that show. That was
boring.
Did you?
I watched the first half of the first season.
And you need to finish it.
I did always really think about going back. I think actually, to be fair, I thought it had been cancelled because I think whatever I was watching it on didn't pick it up.
I think the first. I'm not sure about the first season. I'm pretty sure it got cancelled, but then it got revived. But now it's cancelled after season 3, which was really annoying.
So
they left it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's I think why I stopped watching it, because it got cancelled, and then I didn't realize it got picked up again until like the 3rd season came out, and I was like, oh, I thought they'd cancelled that. Yeah. I will go back to it at some point.
Which is annoying.
There's so many other great shows. I did like the premise of Travelers. I thought the premise was really clever. I did like that actually, and I love the main guy whose name's gone out my head. But anyway, he's great.
For the main guy from Travelers.
Yeah, and then the Will and Grace. Will from Will and Grace. I think that's another reason why I thought it had been cancelled, because Will and Grace came back.
Oh.
So I think that's why I thought it had been cancelled. But anyway,
love Travelers, but I couldn't finish it because I didn't want it to end.
So you just don't.
Just restart the series. Just, as soon as season 3 ends, watch season 1 again, and just keep doing that.
When they cancel TV shows on cliffhangers, though, mate, that is the most annoying thing on the planet.
Yep.
That is, I lie awake sometimes thinking about a couple of series that have ended on cliffhangers. There's a series called The Fog that no one watched, and that ended on a huge cliffhanger. But the final episode was the most interesting episode of the entire series. It's on Netflix still, and I sometimes lie awake going, I wonder what would have happened. And I'm just like, God, it wasn't even that good. Just get out your brain, man.
But they did it with Manifest. They cancelled that on a really big cliffhanger.
Yeah,
that is coming back though. I've been told.
There's going to be one more series. This next series is going to be the final one. But it's in. I think it's filming. I watched the Manifest. I like the Manifest.
Yeah.
They were quite good.
Very dependent logic to make the story flow more easily, like the fact that many societies end up speaking English. Yeah.
Yeah, we just ignore that though, don't we?
I was speaking to someone about that the other day.
I do the same in Star Trek.
In Doctor Who, there's a logical reason you got the TARDIS. I've not watched all of Star Trek, but in Stargate there's none of that. There's no logical reason, but the ultimate answer is we wouldn't understand them otherwise, and you have to accept that it is. Yeah.
I always say this with canon, that I get quite stressed with, because I am a Trekkie at heart. I'm more of a gator now, but I'm a Trekkie at heart. And it annoys me when they peel over canon just for the story. But then other people get so stressed about it. I'm saying, no, sometimes they just have to do it for the story. So, well, why did this happen? Because they needed the story to move along. So, so they just did. Just calm down. So sometimes you've got to do that. Somebody said, Trekkie this, because obviously with Star Trek, they say you've got the universal translators and it works through the communicator. So why aren't all their mouths going like, and like their mouths shouldn't move the same as the language. Do you know what I mean? It should be like a badly dubbed old, martial arts movie, but it's not. So, but Stargate, I think, had enough sense to just go, don't worry about it. Something. We're just going to crack on.
We'll speak English because you speak English.
Yes, because we need to. So don't worry about it. Don't stress it. Don't come up with some nonsense answer that is actually doesn't make any sense. Just ignore it. But I actually don't think in canon there's any major problems with Stargate. In Star Trek, there's a few things that are quite major canon problems, but I don't think of any in Stargate. They don't. Maybe it's because it didn't go on long enough, but I don't think they got themselves into trouble with canon too many times. Nothing
Can't think
jumps
of anything.
out. Yeah. Nothing huge anyway. Like them completely changing the Enterprise and make it 20 times bigger than it was originally, or things like that.
There's a few continuity errors every now and then, but nothing.
Yeah, but that gets
nothing major.
I think if you're doing 22 episodes or whatever it is a year, and you're creating a TV show of that quality, you're allowed to make the odd mistake. You know,
I quite like looking for them. It's quite fun to watch. Like they'll swipe a key card and the bar strip, the black bar will be on the wrong side. It's like, or there'll be a Snickers bar or something like that.
Yeah, there's a few production problems. There's one in Star Trek actually that there's a panning shot in Dr. Flox's medical bay, and somebody's left a bottle of natural water. You can see the logo really clearly. Someone just left a bottle on the side. I like things like that. You catch them in movies occasionally, don't you? But yeah. Not me, thanks for some my dinner. Okay. But yeah, so I think the general agreement is then, don't make it secret then. Let's have the Stargate everyone knows. Let's crack on. We could have Starfleet or Stargate Academy, which has been sort of talked about.
Yeah. They kind of started doing that, didn't they? In later seasons. They had that episode where they had to somehow rescue Jack, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the episode name or what series it was. It was in that season 8 or 9. They kind of started going down that route, so it would make sense that they actually finished it.
I think so. And if it's going to be that we could actually have a branch of the military now that's Stargate military, Space Force, go. And then it's like, so we can have that, which can be quite thing. But all right, now Ian McAvoy, because you've actually watched the video I did on this, Stargate 90210, and that's a comment I made in the video, that I don't want to see a Stargate Academy where they're a bunch of teenagers training, but I don't think Brad Wright is stupid enough to do that.
No,
and we could see, where it becomes almost like a fucking teenage TV show rather than a sci-fi show, where it's like, let's talk about our emotions.
That's the problem a lot of people had with Universe, is they brought in a much younger, sexier cast.
Which is what he said he wants to do for this. Almost those exact words.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Ooh.
A younger, sexier, more relevant cast.
Just don't go too young then. They're not teenagers. Not teenagers.
Yeah.
We don't want to end up being like Power Rangers.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. No, I don't want to see that. Somebody said SGU was 90210. I don't think that's fair, but yeah. It's not far off. We don't want to see Power Rangers either. But a Police Academy, the Gate Years. I think we can see a new SGU team come together at the start of the series because of something that's happened. And that's how the series kicks off. And it's a new team and a new thing. And I think that's the way to go. And people are saying what they did in the 200th episode. Yeah, definitely. 200th episode is. I have a love-hate relationship with that episode.
Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorites, just because how stupid it is.
It is stupid, but I think you've got to watch it for what it is. It's the 200th episode. Don't think of it like a Stargate episode. Think of it like a special episode, a celebration of everything Stargate. And obviously the producers and the writers, they just went, yeah, go nuts. Just do whatever the hell you like. This is never happened before. At that point, no sci-fi series had ever reached that point. 100 episodes was massive. They're in the Guinness Book of World Records at the time. I think only 2 series have done it since. I think it's Supernatural have hit 200 episodes.
I think they went over.
and something else. I think they hit 15 series of Supernatural in the end, and there's another
Yeah.
one as well. But because Doctor Who and stuff doesn't count because they were never continuous.
Yeah, because they had massive hiatus.
Yeah, breaks. But so Stargate had never, they broke all the records when Stargate SG-1 was there. 200th episode is good or two of that. But things like the Team America bits and the puppets bits and stuff, I'm like, I find it quite difficult to watch.
I like the comment about the episode about when they went back to 1969, and basically allude to the fact that Jack is Cam's dad.
Yeah,
but it's never like it's never confirmed. It's just I like to think of it because it's the 200th episode. It's a silly episode. It's just a joke. But I kind of also want it to kind of be true.
I would love that to be true, I have to admit. And it is one of those storylines that I did love. They do that quite a lot. They're only little nods to things like that, which you gotta love. But they always knew, and Brad Wright always knows not to go too far.
Yeah.
I think that's why I think I love Stargate, and I think he'll do the same again. My fear, though, is that I always felt Stargate Universe it's not copying Battlestar Galactica. That's not fair. But the style, it's almost like they saw Battlestar Galactica that was getting all these pundits were all going crazy for. All the reviews were amazing. They said how beautiful it made it was and everything. And I always thought like Brad Wright and everybody else that, Rob Cooper and everyone else that was involved thought, let's do something a bit more serious. Let's do something that actually like Battlestar Galactica has done that's, a bit darker and stuff. And the style was very much like Battlestar Galactica to me. I don't want Brad Wright to now look at what Marvel are doing and thinking, let's do something like that. Because I know, or I've been told, that people at Amazon do keep saying things like, look what Marvel are doing, look what Disney are doing with this, look what Disney are doing with that. Let's do something along those lines. And I hope Brad Wright does a Stargate series.
Yeah, I'm not sure how a Marvel style would work.
The bit I've heard about the Marvel style is this thing about how different projects would influence each other. I don't think it's actually like a style, because actually I would argue Stargate SG-1 has got a sort of a Marvel full of feel to it. It's like action, a bit of comedy, quips. You can,
But they had intertwining episodes as well. So some of the events that happened in SG-1 would influence the episodes of SG Atlantis.
Yeah,
and with Universe, so they kind of did already do that.
Yeah, a little bit. I think
I like the idea of them being like separate stories, though.
Yeah, I think we'll see that to a point, but I think there will be. The thing that I was told is what they want to do is something like what they're doing in Mandalorian now, is that they would have multiple series with multiple crews, but it's actually telling one story. Like Mandalorian goes into Boba Fett, which goes into the next series of Mandalorian, and it's like chapters in a book. And that would be, but even though it's maybe different teams or different projects, they actually do follow on with each other, and it's like chapters in a book. But we'll see.
As long as it makes sense.
At the end of the day,
as long as it makes sense in the overall canon of the show, it'd be fine.
Well, the thing is with that as well, we might see a lot more Stargate that way, because with the Mandalorian, whatever, they're releasing a series every couple of months, and they they intertwine, so it's almost constant. So we can see. Disney will get that Star Wars rock and they will squeeze every last bit of blood out of it. Until
well, the series is though, I like the TV series a lot more than the movies since Disney's had them.
Other than Solo, I've quite enjoyed the movies as well. I hated Solo.
I didn't watch Solo.
It's the most forgettable movie in history.
I saw the trailer and I wasn't really. I didn't like the look of it, so I didn't watch that.
Something happened in it. I forget what. There was probably a lightsaber in there somewhere. But yeah, it's not. But I mean, like Rogue One was fantastic. I love that film.
I love Rogue One.
And the last three movies, they've been fine. They were right. They were different, very different styles, but But no, I think Mandalorian. People keep going on being Disney's ruined. Star Wars have ruined it, made it really woke and really think. Unless I'm like, have you watched the Mandalorian? Because that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Have you seen Boba Fett yet?
Yeah. The best Boba Fett episodes are the ones where Boba Fett isn't in it.
Yeah,
It's great.
I felt like halfway through I was watching The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I the thing with the Boba Fett was so off target now, so off topic. But never mind. The Mandalorian was it took you 2 or 3 episodes to get into it. I was like, this is a bit boring. Come on, get something happen. But by the end of it, you're like, can't wait for the next episode. Come on, something. Yeah, but it took a little while to get into. Yeah. So, is there anything else? Anything else you want to see from the new series, or anything else you're worried about with the new series? Anything you don't want to see?
Honestly, I'm just super excited for anything.
Yeah.
Any Stargate. I don't know. I have fears that it's going to be, it will end up being terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But Stargate is Stargate. I'm just super excited. I'm eagerly waiting for Amazon to say, it's official. Here it comes.
It's going to happen.
I think I will cry. Happy tears.
I think I will lose my mind. And I will straight on live, and it'll be probably 35 minutes of me going, I mean,
straight down the shop, get the party poppers.
and you know, people will be commenting, "What's going on?" And I'll be like, just like, yeah, no, I will strip live on a live show when they can't no, I won't. You don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see that. If we're going to go into rumor, what I'm told is that they're in big meetings the next couple of weeks. There might be decisions being made. Whether we'll hear about them just yet, I don't know. But apparently, the next couple of weeks are important. So we will see what happens, and then, you know, let's just hope. My only worries are, now somebody is just very lovely. Give us a thing, but your name is the prick. Thank you so much for the donation, and sod it, I'm going to put it up anyway. Use Rodney's wormhole drive to find Destiny. Why not? I don't know how they're going to do the Destiny, but thank you so much for the contribution. It really helps us out. And that I need more contributions so that I can quit my job and don't worry about it. So yeah, I forgot what I was saying because that guy's name threw me. What was I talking about?
I can't remember.
Star Wars, really? We were talking about Star Wars. Yeah, but no, I'm told the next couple of weeks is really important. And then from there, I think a couple of things that are really interesting happening at the moment is you're starting to see a lot of Stargate story news articles and things. There's one on Screen Rant like a week ago, and there's one in Variety magazine talking about Stargate coming back and how it's been 20. But that might be because of the 25th anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
But also the marketing people at Amazon aren't stupid, and they're going to want as much, you know, I think that's why this Pluto deal in America has gone through, why they allowed it to happen, is because they don't really care. Because everybody I spoke to, and a lot of company inside, you know, a lot of business insiders assumed when MGM was bought that Amazon would just go, right, everything MGM and just go, and, you know, and put it onto the Amazon Prime, and they wouldn't let anybody else have anything. It doesn't look like they're going to do that. And I'm being told that Amazon aren't going to do that. They're still going to allow MGM to operate as a business on their own sort of thing. So they're going to be allowed to do deals and things, and Amazon will act more like a customer preferential treatment, I should imagine, because they're the owners.
I do hope the series, that the Stargate series, will be available on Prime though, because at the moment you have to pay for it. Yeah,
in the UK it's on Sky. And elsewhere, it's in America, I know it's on Netflix and a couple of other places. If you want to watch it on Amazon, you have to pay for it. Yeah. I have heard rumors that they're going to release it on Amazon Prime as a 4K version. But that's not confirmed. That's just a rumor. But that would be that's what I would do. For the 25th anniversary. That's what I would do. And people would go nuts, you know.
I'll be straight on Amazon Prime as soon as that drops, if that drops.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But it's So that I think that's where we're at the moment. Is that the 25th anniversary in July will be really, really interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon didn't release some sort of documentary. I would love to see that, because 25th anniversary is quite a big thing.
Like a making of the 15 years that we had.
Looking back, interviews with Richard Dean Anderson and everybody, and it'd be really easy to put together. They could put it together really quickly.
If they did it in the style of that episode with the interview, that'd be good.
Oh, that'd be great. Wouldn't that be good? Oh, that's such a good idea.
Make it as if it's an episode.
Yeah. Do it. That'd be great. So that's the sort of thing that they would probably...
It'd be like an interviewing the actor who plays the character, who's getting interviewed about the character, talking about...
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, so twisty.
It's like that thing with Wormhole Extreme, where the guy is like, I'm playing Daniel Jackson, who's played by Michael Shanks, who was originally played by Daniel Spader.
Yeah, that'd be so good. No, but I love that. Yeah, exactly. Documentary hosted by Amanda Tapping and Michael Shanks. They could do some live thing on a streaming thing as well. Like Netflix was doing after Star Trek came out, and they did a live show immediately afterwards. They could do something like that. That'd be really cool. Yeah. Oh, if anybody wants to come on here. No, an Amazon documentary hosted by Walter. That's it. You've got it, Ian. Well done, mate. But yeah, so I think we're starting to see these articles and things on mainstream media. I think we're going to see more of that. It won't surprise me at all if Brad Wright starts going very quiet about Stargate and things as it comes, because of the as it becomes closer to reality. But I don't think at all this, I think this script, he's done it again. Thank you so much again for the contribution, but you're going to get me banned. So link the documentary when Janet got killed to make the gate public. Why not? And Shelley, I must confess, I've never watched Stargate.
That's for me.
Curiosity is getting to me. Shelley runs our Facebook channel, and she is amazing. And I will be having a conversation with her later. Is Jay going to send a copy of this all to Brad Wright? No, because he doesn't like me very much. So Brad Wright hates me because I made a mistake. So anyway, we don't need to go into that. Stressful week I had. So that has been an amazing conversation. I think we figured out if Brad Wright hasn't got an idea on how to do Stargate, he just has to watch this, and we've told him. And guys, again, with your amazing comments, as always, you've been really, really helpful. Is there anything you wanted to say before we leave this lovely conversation, Matthew?
No, just thank you for having me on.
This is when you
actually, we have Discord. If you want to join the Discord server, link for it is down below, I hope. If not, I will put it in the comments as well.
Put it in the comments. It's in the description. There is a link in the description to the Discord server. Matt here runs our amazing Discord server. He's on there constantly having conversations. Shelley, Joshua Johnson, you have got some catching up to do.
It's the server is mainly a hub for anything sci-fi. So even if you don't like Stargate, you'll like the server because there's going to be something for everyone. We're trying to get it that way anyway. Yeah,
there's all sorts on there. It's like the Sci Trek channel. We talk about Stargate a lot because it's one of our favorite shows, and hopefully it's going to be coming back really soon. But I talk about everything as always. And I've already seen a few of your conversations. I don't get on there enough, but I will try to get on there more, I promise. But no, I thank you so much for doing that. Thank you, Shelley, for doing the Facebook group. You're really helping us grow the community, and that's what we want, because we want a place for people to come and talk about this stuff, because we love it.
Exactly.
Some of us love it a bit too much.
I don't think you can love it too much.
So most people at 25th anniversary, will there be cake? I have to put these up because I promised. I will have cake. On the 25th anniversary, I will do a live video, and the live video will be me just eating cake.
Stargate Pickles just joined the Discord server.
Fantastic. Well done. Everybody else get on there immediately. Right, thank you so much for joining us, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've not really spoken properly face to face before this, which is why we were nearly late.
It's been a
Really,
pleasure.
really,
I really enjoyed it.
and I have as well, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. So, thank you guys, everyone's got into the comments. We are out of here as soon as I get to the outro video, which is there. So, thank you very much again. If you are new to the channel, like, subscribe, do all that business. If you want to join the channel, fantastic. Get on the Discord server. See ya.